Welcome to the Dear Doc Podcast, where we will discuss the business of running a dental practice with a panel of experts. Now, your host, Dr. Christopher Hoffpower.
Hey guys, this is Doc Hoffpower for the Dear Doc Podcast. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Today we have a really special guest and a friend of mine, Dr. Brady Smith. He currently practices in Washington, but he is also the founder of the Halo Dental Network and fearless general of the Tooth Fairy Army. Brady, it's great to have you on the show today. Can't wait to hear more about what you're doing and how people can get involved. But first, let's take a break to hear from our sponsors. Hi, folks. This is Doc Hoffpower, founder of the Business of Dentistry and host of the Dear Doc Podcast. Before we go any further, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about one of our fine sponsors, Dentimax. Now, I've been able to land a phenomenal deal for all of our TBOD members and our listeners on the Dentimax Dream Sensor. Before I jump into the offer, if you didn't already know, Dentimax offers high-quality dental sensors. They sent me one of their Dream Sensors to try out in my office, and my staff just raved about it. If you're picky about image quality, Dentimax has you covered. When you get your sensor in, a technician will help you by setting it up so that you get clear, concise images all of the time. In fact, they can even set it to mimic a sensor that you had before that you like the image on. All you have to do is share which one it was. It has a tough, durable housing, and it's backed by a 3-year manufacturer warranty, which is one of the longest warranties in the industry. I also like the thin design. With the beveled corners, it makes it easy to place in the patient's mouth, and it's pretty comfortable. Now, I know a lot of you may be worried, will this work with my imaging software? You don't have to worry there. Dentimax has you covered there as well. Dentimax Dream Sensor works with virtually all software. In fact, it's usually plug and play, and you never even have to use a Twain driver. I'm excited to share this special with you because David Ornett, Dentimax's CEO, was willing to give us a really great deal. All of our members can try the Dentimax Dream Sensor for free. That's right. They'll ship it out to you and let you use it for 2 weeks. In fact, they'll even have their technician dial it in on your systems to make sure it looks as good as possible. Now, all you have to do to get this offer is go to dentimax.com/TBOD. But guys, that's not it. Dentimax is going to give you $3,000 off of their retail price, plus a $200 discount above and beyond that, just for being a member of this community. So you can get a size 1 sensor for just $27.99 and a size 2 sensor for $37.99. It's a really great deal on a really great sensor, but you don't have much time to wait because this deal ends on July 4th. So go ahead and go to dentimax.com/TBOD, check out the deal, and celebrate your freedom from high prices. Thanks again, folks. This is Doc Hoffpower. Let's get back to the show. Okay, guys, we're back. We're also going to go live with this thing on the Business of Dentistry so that anybody who is watching can ask questions. Now, Brady, as you know, going live through Zoom is always a challenge. It'll sometimes tell you you're live, sometimes tell you you're not. And technically right now it says we're live, but we're just going to kind of just shoot the breeze a little bit.
I'm here for it all, man. I'm here for it all. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for waking me up in the morning.
Sorry about that. Hopefully I didn't wake you up too early. I forget that we're in different time zones.
No, I was up. I'm a morning guy.
Excellent. Well, guys, this is Dr. Brady Smith. If you haven't met him yet, we're now live on the Business of Dentistry. We're going to talk a little bit about a charitable endeavor that he runs. You may know Brady from a little bit of stirring the pot on Drilled, his dental podcast, which is always fun to watch, particularly when he gets in trouble with all the hygienists. In fact, I think
I'm still not putting that down, man. That was a long time ago. I think hygienists are starting to warm up to me. I think.
I'll tell you, it was one of my favorite episodes. You said a lot of things that a lot of people think. In fact, I think that episode was prescient. If you look at what's going on today in the world of dentistry and the hygiene shortages that we're having now, a lot of the advice that you gave was truly prescient. But in addition to the Drilled Podcast, you've also created a really great charity organization called Halo. And I believe that stands for Helping and Leading Others. Right. Talk to me a little bit about Halo, and you are, of course, the fearless general of the Tooth Fairy Army, and we'll get into how you can join the Tooth Fairy Army in a couple minutes here. But first, talk to me a little bit about the goals of Halo and why you started it.
Yeah, so Halo. So imagine if you're a dentist and you maybe became a dentist because you wanted to help people, right? So a lot of people joined or became dentists because they had that desire. They wanted to help people in a certain way, and then you become a dentist and you realize life is a little bit different. Reality hits you and it's like, well, I want to help people, but it requires that they have a lot of money. It requires that I have a lot of skills, and sometimes those two things don't line up. So when you get the skills, you got to be able to do the work that is required to help someone in the situations that they find themselves in. So Halo was designed to be a tool for dentists to utilize when they find somebody in need of dental work that they can't possibly ever afford. So the people that you want to help the most usually can afford the dentistry the least.
Absolutely.
And so that's where Halo comes in and allows the dentist once a year, and in some cases more often, to pull out all the stops, get all the required materials and labs donated. And so all you have to do is donate your time, and you help someone in your actual community with no traveling involved for the dentist or the patient to a remote location. And you help someone in your community get all the dental work that they need with no cost involved for the patient and the dentist. So that's what Halo is all about. It's a tool that you can use in situations like that. And man, it's been wild getting to know so many dentists, help so many people receive this and offer this. So it's just, without something like the Halo Dental Network, it might cost you $7,000 to help someone out. And all of a sudden, maybe we don't want to help someone out so much.
Yep.
And that's hard, because in dentistry, we should be doing that. We should be helping people out. There's just so many benefits that we could really get into a lot of different benefits of what that does for you as a doctor, for your team, for the patients, for the community, and the ripple effects of helping people using the skills and talents that you have. So that's what Halo is all about. It's creating these opportunities within the comfort of your own office to help people in your own community know what you're all about as a dentist.
Well, I'll say, yeah, this is one of the first things that we ever talked about whenever you and I first became friends online, is charitable giving. I had a program we called the Christmas Miracle, and we would give away $75,000 a year. And you're not joking. Yeah. On some of these bigger cases, you could be looking at, a $12,000 lab bill, yes. If you're doing an upper and lower fixed. And it got to the point where I was just a little bit burnt out on it, because I kept seeing that money going in someone else's mouth and not in my pockets. And it kind of, honestly, it soured me a little bit on it, because some of the people just weren't very grateful. And that actually happened after COVID. I think everyone just kind of got a little off kilter there. But previously, it was one of the highlights of my year. It just makes you feel so good to give selflessly to someone else. And as a consequence, I believe a couple months ago, I actually donated a bit of money to Halo. So this is a charity that I personally donate to. I haven't done any work for them yet, or had them fund any work that I've done, because I have hung up my clinical spurs. But at this point, I think that anybody who wants to feel good about what you do for a living should be doing some charitable giving, because it really refreshes your mentality. It reminds you of why you got into doing this to begin with. And, not having to eat the bill is just fantastic. So,
and that's exactly right. I mean, the people, the dentists that we hear back from who've joined our network, we got about 40 dentists that have joined up with us and done cases for us. And some of them have done multiple cases. We have a little bit more than 40 cases completed or in process. But that's it, man. It's like, it's the idea that it's just a punch in the gut when you get into reality and you're like, well, all of a sudden what matters is like, you know, you buy a house, you might get married, you might have children, you might have other things going on in your life, and you forget why you even went on this road in the first place. I mean, you talk to some new grads, go talk to new grads or current dental students and ask them what they're doing in dental school. And a lot of them are going to tell you, I'm here to help people. I want to help people. I mean, that's especially this newer generation. This younger generation is so much more about being a part of something bigger than yourself than it is about how much money you're going to make. It just seems like that is much more important to this younger generation coming out of dental school. And so, man, it's a slap in the face when you get into real life and you're like, I just want to make ends meet. I got $1 million with practice debt, student loans, and personal debt. It's all of a sudden, it's like, yeah, I just need to get my head up from under, over the water here, because I feel like I'm treading water with a bunch of weights on. So charitable giving just takes the furthest back seat that it can take. And that's kind of like the normal, evolution of that whole thing. And so Halo comes in and puts it back in the forefront and gives you an opportunity, if you want to do it with, and really all you need to donate is your time and your talent. And that's it. And that's what we really wanted to create. And I was surprised that there's nothing really like this in dentistry. There are some really amazing nonprofits and education centers that kind of combine charitable service and education, which are awesome. And I can, there's a lot of those I can recommend, but you travel for those. You go somewhere else. The patients who go and receive those services often travel as well. And it's very difficult to maintain care for individuals when you're separated by geographic distance. So one thing about Halo is all our docs agree to continue to see these patients twice a year for the rest of their lives. So this is a for life thing. So if you were to join the Halo Dental Network and 10 years, you do 10 cases, these are 10 people that you are going to be doing cleanings for, or some kind of maintenance. But that's super important to me. I mean, I love all charitable approaches, but I do think it's super important to understand the importance of maintenance. We can't just give someone a Lamborghini and not tell them where the dealership is, because you gotta get the oil changed, right? So the maintenance becomes super important. So that's super important to us too. But it's been so fun to try to create the biggest and baddest, most impactful charity that we can for dentists to take advantage of and do the big stuff that they want to do. Changing, make that impact on one person. And what that does for you as a dentist is just, there's no price that replaces that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm gonna bring something up here, and a lot of people won't like that I say this, but charitable giving was one of the best draws for my practice when I was growing it. And what we would do is we would announce the giveaway in the local paper and on the local Facebook group. And we would say, please nominate your family and friends. We did not allow anyone to nominate themselves because I really dislike greed. And I felt like I was being used whenever people did that. So then the person would have to actually write a one-page essay on why this other person they were nominating deserved it. And we would bring them in and interview them and tell them, hey, you've won a free exam and a cleaning. And so they would come in having no idea at all. They would get their free exam and their cleaning. My team had already pretty much narrowed it down to 2 or 3 people, and we'd have them all in on the same day. And then we would kind of gather around and we talk. Or it might be sometimes, I remember in one case, this one lady had lost her son, and she had stayed in her house for 5 years. She just completely succumbed to depression. Her mouth was a wreck. We ended up doing upper and lower implants and dentures on her. And the moment that she started talking, my girl started crying and said, Doc, we don't have to go any further. This is the one.
Yep, the one.
She still sees me at Kroger. The other day, she said, I know, I haven't been in. I haven't been depressed. I've just been traveling with my new boyfriend. And so it's really cool because anytime she talks about the experience, she tells it tearfully about the change that we made in her life. In her words, we gave her life back. And to be able to hear someone say that, and there's an old saying, it says, doing well while doing good. And what that means is, good work's well publicized. You will reap the benefits of doing this charitable work if you just let people know about it. It's amazing. People want to go to someone who does things like this.
Yeah. And then so the question is, why are dentists, because we deal with this all the time. Why are dentists or individuals, people in general, why are we hesitant to share these types of charitable givings? And the reason is, obviously, we don't want to make it like it's all about me. I don't want to be, and I get that. That's a very valid concern. I don't want it to be like, look at what I'm doing. I'm bragging about what I'm doing. But here's my counterpoint. If you do something nice for somebody and you don't tell anybody, you will inspire yourself. If you do something nice for somebody and you tell everybody, now you inspire everybody.
Amen.
And that's the idea about being, it's contagious. It makes you kind of identify in your own life, like what you should be maybe doing that you're not doing. And so you start thinking about that, and like, I could do that. Or maybe you see the experience and you're like, I want to experience that. And so you go out and do it yourself, which would never happen. And so I get docs all the time who are like, hey, I don't want to be filmed. I don't want to give a bio. I don't want to I don't want to be like, I don't want you to put me out there on your social media. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's too bad. That's what we do. And that's a deal breaker. And the patients have to agree to it too. That's the one thing they got to agree to. We want to, not only do we want to share what happened, we want to share your story. We want to share how this affected you. We want other people to know. It gives people hope. It gives people inspiration. I mean, it's like, when you start really thinking about it, it's almost more selfish not to share it.
I agree. I absolutely agree. So I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit about some of these doctors who've been involved. Name some names, call some people out for the good that they've done, and also tell us a little bit about the patient stories, some of the ones that are dearest to your heart.
Well, it's interesting. As you were telling your story, I thought about 2 or 3 of the stories of the people that I've come into contact with. The docs, I don't know that you would know a lot of them, but we had a doctor who chose someone who was a veteran. And as soon as he saw he was a veteran, he just had a soft spot for military service and chose this guy. And his name was Lee. And this doctor was Dr. Eric Wood, who was a partner of mine at the time. And he's a fantastic dentist, but kind of just thumbing through a bunch of these bios, because we do the exact same thing that you do, which is we make people nominate other people. People are not allowed to nominate themselves, which is a fantastic method to get to know people, to try to identify people most deserving, because someone else is vouching for you. And we get a lot of crap for that too. But anyways, back to Lee. So Dr. Wood chose this guy, Lee, who was kind of basically like quadriplegic. He was in a wheelchair, and he subsequently lost all his teeth. He was a chef. So even though he was in a wheelchair, he would still cook, but then he lost his ability to eat. And when he lost the ability to eat, he lost the interest in cooking food. He didn't want to cook food that he couldn't enjoy himself. And so he stopped that. And that was a big part of his life, especially after his accident. And then his wife wrote us a letter nominating him, telling us this is the most amazing human being you'll ever meet. And he was just the most positive, bright light you could ever think of. And then the work was done. I think we did a couple of, did 4 implants on bottom, 4 implants on top, maybe 5, but it was a implant supported overdenture, like a snap-on type of prosthetic. looks like $1 million now. I mean, he was missing teeth. Visibly, you could see something was wrong. And then there's a judgment that comes around. The average person sees someone with missing teeth, and what do they think? They think drugs. They think irresponsible, reckless, scary, ugly. These are the things that people are thinking, right? And that weighs on it, man. That crushes a soul. That strips you of not only your confidence, but your dignity. And yeah, it's just to be able to restore that. I mean, I just feel like we're like superheroes sometimes. I just feel like sometimes dentists are just like I look at someone sometimes, I think to myself, I could change that in 2 hours. I could flip your life around in hours. And so what we do at Halo is we do it.
Do you feel like you are wasting your time and money marketing your dental practice? The fact is, most marketing companies are not focused on your best interest. They focus on their profit. At Art of Dental Marketing, our engagements are month to month, allowing you a low risk and foundational level to build trust as we build real solutions. Right now, TBOD members can enjoy exclusive discounted pricing on our ultra-fast websites and local SEO services. Visit us online at artofdentalmarketing.com or call us at 913-214-8502.
We had another woman who received this, the gift that we are given with another doc. His name is Blake Perkins, and he's a local doctor in our area. And she won, and what she shared was her and her husband had always talked about, if we won the lottery, the first thing that we would do was not a house or a fancy car. It was their teeth. They would fix their teeth. And so through tears in her eyes, she started crying and saying, it's as if I won the lottery, because that's what I would do. If I won the lottery, that's what I would use the money for. That's the first thing I would do. So to her, she felt like she had won the lottery. And that's how I mean, you don't know how this affects someone until you're a dentist and you see it day to day, or it affects you personally, because it's this thing that you suffer in silence for. And so as dentists, it's just this amazing opportunity to have to use our superpowers to change people's lives. And we can do it in hours sometimes. And, we can reverse a whole life of depression and
absolutely
bad feelings and negativity and self-esteem issues and make people feel good.
Well, there's so many problems are tied up. There's so many mental weights for a person to progress in their life are tied up in how they see themselves. And you have the ability to wave a magic wand and change that instantly.
And you mentioned your patient was traveling around with her new boyfriend. And then my first thought was, I wonder if she would have got this new boyfriend if it weren't for your dental work.
Absolutely not. She was homebound. She wouldn't leave the house.
Yeah.
She was so ashamed with her mouth.
I mean, the ability that we have to actually make it so people can find companionship. I mean, and the way that not having teeth strips that, not even just the ability. It's not the ability, it's your desire. People who I'm not, I want to be clear. I'm not saying that people don't like people who don't have teeth. It's the people who don't have teeth who don't like themselves. And so they don't go out there. They don't put themselves out there. They're not on dating apps. They're not trying to meet new people. They're not asking people. They're too embarrassed. They're too self-conscious. They don't have confidence. They don't want to go on a date and eat. What do you do on a date? You eat food. Well, yeah, that's a problem for a lot of people. Yep. So that's just what I thought. Immediately when you said that with our new boyfriend, I was like, I wonder if that new boyfriend would have even happened if it weren't for someone fixing her smile, giving her something that she can be proud of. So, and that's what we have as dentists. So, so the tragedy becomes when you don't have the ability to use that, because I don't want to spend $5,000 of my own money on the lab.
Right.
So that's where I came with, the idea of Halo is, well, you don't have to. We can create a situation where you can use this. You can be that, you can affect that change in someone's life without it costing you all this money. And we got an amazing sponsor in BioHorizons, who, one of the fourth largest implant company in the United States that graciously donates not only implants, but all biologics. We got labs. that we work with. Usually we work with the labs that are that the dentist is used to working with, and try to get them to donate as well. And we're working on other opportunities to get more labs involved. But finding ways to make this not cost anything opens up a lot of doors for you. And you mentioned something about what it did for your actual office. And that's
Absolutely.
something I wanted to key into also, because we live in a world full of dentists, right? You have to learn how to differentiate yourself. And are your crowns that different from somebody's? No, they're not. Are your root canals that different from somebody's? I mean, let's hope not. Let's hope they're all kind of streamlined. Are your fillings that different? Is your composite special? No.
They're all special snowflakes, Brady. Every single one of them. All
I'm
of my
sorry,
composites.
but your composites are not special. But this is another opportunity that sets you apart, because my goodness, patients don't care about your crowns. Patients don't care about your root canals. Patient cares about your why. Why do you do the way you do it? And how do you even explain that to someone? How do you explain, I want to help somebody, and then say $1,500 for a crown, please? It just gets lost in the noise.
Well, and they don't see the fact that you take their insurance with a 40 to 50. In some cases, I got an email from a dentist this past week. They said they realized that they were actually getting a 70% mark off from Delta Dental now over their UCR. I was like, why? Just drop the damn thing. But I'll have so many patients who'll be so upset. And I'm like,
yeah,
this just doesn't compute. You're doing charitable work right there, by the way, folks.
Yeah, exactly.
So, one of the things that I did is I actually went on this Facebook group that our town has. It has like 40,000, 50,000 members, and for a small town, which is crazy. And so I would have something I called Truthful Tuesdays, where you could ask me any dental question, and I would, to the best of my knowledge, answer it. And I would make recommendations for other dentists in the area, even just say, hey, look, you need to go to someone. I know so-and-so does this, so-and-so does this. You can come to our practice too, but you need to get this taken care of. And so people saw that as me just being altruistic. I mean, it was advertising, yeah, but it wasn't like I was saying, oh, they'll go to the other dentist. I was recommending them as well. But that and this giveaway every year, they grew my practice like wildfire. So
my word of mouth referrals have quintupled since. I mean, it is such a significant number, and it was kind of unintentional. And the other thing that people think is that if you get known as the guy who gives away things for free, well, then everyone's going to ask you for free stuff. And I just want everyone to know, I have never been hit up in person by other people who have mentioned a giveaway I've done and asked me to give it to them. It's never happened to me, not once. And the people I know who are heavy into philanthropy or charitable service share that same sentiment. It just doesn't happen. It's like if someone gave you a free Rolex or a free car, you probably wouldn't go out and tell every single human you know that you got it for free. Like, you don't want that to be known. People don't like teeth are a status symbol in some ways. And so people don't want to tell people that I got it for free.
How sad is it that that's true?
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. But what they do want to tell people is how cool the dentist is that did it for them. Absolutely. Oh, you need a crown? You got to go to Doc Hoffpower. He did my crown and he did a great job. Love that guy. He's an amazing person. That's the approach that people take, is that they become your cheerleader, but they never typically mention that they got it for free. It's not in their nature to want to mention that. And so, what it does, it just gets you, one of the very first Halo cases we did, I had a feeling that this was going to create some referrals for us. So I kept track of everybody who was referred to us by one of our Halo cases, and she was nominated by her daughter. So those two people, I kept track of their referrals, and I put a little folder in a little manila folder.
You bring a great point up there. The whole family refers to you.
Yeah, exactly right. So I put a little manila folder. I would put all these patients in our intake documents, there's an area that says, how do you hear about us? Do you hear about us? And if they said from Misty or her mother, whose name was Bobby, and they said those two names, I put in a little folder and I kept track of what they spent at my office. And in 6 or 7 months, it was over $18,000 of actual collected revenue from individuals who were coming from Salem, Oregon, which is a 2-hour drive. You are driving past a couple hundred dentists to come get to me. And we generated by accident $18,000 in revenue over 6 months that I would not have had if I wouldn't have done this case.
Amazing.
That's not the reason. That's not the reason you do it. But I'm telling you, it kind of, well, in a way, I kind of take that back. I think it partly is because I feel like, again, it's more selfish to keep that information from people. You definitely want to find the people who want to find a dentist who is there to help people. Absolutely. That's better for patients. It's better for you.
It's like I tell dentists all the time, and I know we've talked about this before, and I know people are tired of hearing me beat this drum, but stop being afraid and ashamed of the word sell. If you can't learn to sell the dentistry, that assuming you're an ethical person, you're treatment planning ethical treatment plans. If you can't learn to sell those treatment plans to your patients, you can't help people. Yeah. So guys, Brady, I wanted to ask you, how can people get involved in the Halo Network?
So we have a website. So we are a legitimate 501c3 nonprofit organization. There's a website, thehalodentalnetwork.org. You can go on there, and we call it the Tooth Fairy Army. And you introduced me as the Fearless General, which I love. That's a fantastic introduction. Thank you so much. I didn't even ask you to do that. Felt good. But you can join the Tooth Fairy Army. If you're interested, we have an archive of thousands and thousands of nominations. Likely we have someone in your area. We have ways of generating more in your area to find people in your own community that you can help. And the dentists are very much involved in choosing the person that we help out. So we give you some options. We give you some people in need. We help you find that patient. In addition to that, we'll hook you up with all of our sponsors who will help you get all the materials donated that you need. But there's a little form that you fill out on our website and says that, just tells us you're interested. We get to learn a little bit about you as a dentist, what your areas of specialty are, what you feel comfortable doing, what you feel uncomfortable doing. You got to tell us where you live so we can find someone close to you to introduce you to. And we'll go through the whole process of how this is all done, but very similar to what you mentioned, Doc, where we broker a first visit, and then from the first visit, it's your gift to give as the dentist. And if you don't feel good about that visit, we can find you someone else. We can keep you feeding you people that you want to meet until you find someone that you feel inspired to select. And then there's some perks that you get as the dentist. We have some more materials that have been graciously donated by the philanthropic arm of Henry Schein called Schein Cares. You get a handpiece, like a $800 Cavo Smart Torque handpiece. We got a curing light from Ivoclar, which is like another $1,000 curing light, and all of our volunteer docs get this. We have some video instructions on some of the video that we want to get, and we have a video production team that will put together a very nicely produced video that you can use and keep for your own purposes, whether you want to share that video on social media. But it will kind of be like a 3 to 4 minute video that tells the story of the person that you've decided to help. So, which is like a, I don't know, $3,000 or $4,000 retail value video that we provide for you. So we try to make it so lopsided in the benefit of the dentist that it'd be silly not to join the Halo Dental Network. Not only do we want you to do it not only do we provide a situation that you can do this for free, but we're going to give you a bunch of perks, a bunch of swag to send you on your way, and thank you for helping someone in your community.
Fantastic. All right, guys. So Brady, the one thing you didn't say is, how do they donate? How do they get involved?
Yeah. So I wanted to create something that people feel good about. One thing that's really cool about Halo is that when we produce these videos and this content, it just makes dentistry look better. The more dentists we can get involved, the more dentistry looks good. I mean, when you ask the average person what they feel about dentists, It's just a shade underneath a used car salesman. We don't have the best reputation in some circles, and I think that can be changed by a movement like the Halo Dental Network is trying to start. We want to make it a place where people can feel good about donating. So if you don't want to volunteer as a dentist quite yet, a reoccurring donation, $20, $50, $100, whatever you feel good about.
I'm gonna challenge everyone out there. Brady, how much did I donate this year?
You donated $1,200, and it couldn't be more. It blew me away.
$100 a month, guys. We're all
$100 a month
for that,
which is nothing to a dentist. Listen, I know overhead. $100 a month goes missing. I don't think I would even know that $100 goes missing.
So, guys, I'm going to challenge you all. This is the official Huff Power Challenge. Doc says, match or beat what I donated. I want to see some real output from the business of dentistry. I want you guys to show that we're different and that we're here to make a change in our world. Donate to Halo.
And that's all on the website as well. So you can go to halodentalnetwork.org, and there's a little donate button. We made it an annoying button that follows you around on every single page. So
I noticed that. I was laughing.
You can't miss it. It's pretty dead center. So it doesn't matter what page you're on, your donate button's right there. And appreciate your challenge. And I challenge you all too. I mean, listen, there should be places you put your money that you feel good. And you can follow us on social media and see exactly where your money goes, which is what's very important to me as the founder of Halo, is that when you donate money, you get to see the actual human beings that are being benefited from the generous donations that you decide to. I mean, listen, money's important. Money's hard earned. I take it very seriously when people give me their money to put it towards a use that is worthwhile.
Fantastic. Well, Brady, thank you for joining us today and telling us a little bit about the Halo Network. Folks, if you haven't done any charitable giving, what are you doing? Life's too short. Make a change in this universe. Yeah. Well, Gandhi, who said, be the change you want to see in the world. You want to see people's opinions of dentists change? If you want to feel great about yourself and the work that you do, just give.
It's important. Yep.
Well, folks, thank you for joining us for the Dear Doc podcast. And I hope that a lot of you see this and donate to the Halo Network. Brady, again, thank you for being such an avid supporter of everything that we do here on TBOD. And thank you for the opportunity to help us to help more people by having this network.
Thanks for having me on.
Folks, have a great day. This is Doc Hoff signing out. Hey, folks, before I let you go, I just wanted to make sure I thank United Medical Credit for sponsoring this podcast and also the business of dentistry. Go check out their website at www.unitedmedicalcredit.com/TBOD to get a special deal.
Thanks for listening to the Dear Doc Podcast, your source for the business and legal questions associated with your dental practice. Don't forget to subscribe to the Dear Doc Podcast on all major platforms.